When she told me that, I was like, wow, that's a fabulous, fabulous angle. That's a beautiful business. It's a beautiful product. No, she wanted something more, a better story. But the better story might be down that road. The myth starts here, your own personal myth. Just a few steps off of the main trail. Look what I found up over here. How wonderful. Nice, beautiful manicured spot right here. Part of me really wants to do some bhagwan there, but the moss is growing in here. It looks like someone has taken some pretty intentful time to make this spot, so I don't want to disrespect that. Gathered myself a little bit of a berry treat here. Also a little bit to take home to the girly. No bugs in there. Amazing. With a little consciousness as we head out into nature, and we gather this bounty that is given to us. And so long as we're a conscientious person, it deepens our respect for nature. The more I forage, the more I fish, the more I observe, the more I care and respect. What a gift. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about, I suppose, radical responsibility and maybe how to engage yourself into the world. And I'm going to use some people as examples. It's not to make them out to be inferior in any way, because it's only through self-reflection that I recognize that, seeing it because it is myself. It's interesting in this world, we look at pride and righteousness, and we want to do the right thing. Righteousness seems to lead to pride to me. I've made so many mistakes. I'm lucky to be alive, actually. And that humility taught me more than anything I ever learned through books or the development of skills. That's just my path. But, I was talking to somebody about their behavior, and they're utilizing their ADD or their mind as a reason for their behavior, and that they couldn't control it. And I asked if they acted like that when they're at work. And some comment that didn't really make any sense. And I think responsibility, radical self-responsibility, creates power and freedom. Not taking responsibility prevents you harnessing the power. Oh, I saw a nice little mouse running around here. Cute. Beautiful. But we don't want to take responsibility for some reason. We make excuses for ourselves. Like it's out of our control, or the world caused this. And I think what we don't recognize is that we're unwillingly relinquishing our personal power when we speak like that and think like that. I had been tested a lot for ADHD throughout my elementary school years, and I was a slacker in school. I think because of feelings of unsafety or lack of safety, I pulled back, and not feeling safe on a regular basis prevented me from engaging with the school system well. And maybe as a late developer as well, there's a number of things that could be causing that. But I really didn't get engaged into education and self-study until after high school. Started up in my later years in high school due to learning the trades and learning math that was applicable rather than in a book. It just didn't function in my brain. But we often want to say, like, oh, if this was the situation and if this was different, then I would. So cute. Then I would be in a position where I could do what I wanted. And when we think about like the hero's journey and how we see it in films and everything, it's never where someone's in that zone where, hey, everything's all great, okay, and I'm going to go make it even greater. That's not the story. That's not the narrative. The narrative is that people are cast into situations, and in that situation, they become more than what they were. We need the pressure. We need the cooker, We need the hardship. And when we say, oh, I can't because of this and I can't because of that, then we prevent ourselves from even looking at that road. If we were forced to, if the house was burning, we'd run. But because the house isn't burning, we sit. I was talking to my sister some time ago, and she's going through a transition in life where she's wanting more than just her career. And she made the comment that I've been a single mom of two, daughters my whole life. I haven't had time to figure out who I am and what I want. And I really honor that. Situations require so much that sometimes there's not much left over. And unless we have a mentor or somebody as an example that we can, we often are unsure of ourselves or believe in a false ceiling. When she told me that, I was like, wow, that's a fabulous angle. That's a beautiful business. It's a beautiful product. 55-year-old woman, you've been a single mother, and you haven't found a way to feel engaged and a deep connection to your life. Write about it. And maybe that's not what she wants. At the same time, I think she wanted something more, a better story. But the better story might be down that road. You are where you are. If you're saying to yourself, oh, if I get here, then I can do it. Well, this is where you are. And to get there is still part of the story. Honor it. Don't just get to this part of the story what you want the story to be like. The myth starts here, your own personal myth. As Rumi said, don't be content with how it went for others. Unlock or unravel your own myth. And I'm not saying that it's easy, because of course it's not. I've been looking to do a YouTube channel. I did my first YouTube channel in like 2008 or something. And I had like maybe 25,000 views or something like that. I didn't understand the value of it, and I just deleted it because I didn't like the name. And I went in and started a new one, and that never performed the same because, early adopter, I suppose. That's a fail story. So what? That's almost 20 years ago. So what? Here I am still learning, still tinkering, watched 10,000 videos on how to have a YouTube channel. Started it, failed it, didn't follow through. So what? Just do it. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about life. Just do it. You have a hard time concentrating? Write down things you don't have a hard time concentrating. Have a hard time behaving? Write down times in your life where you do pull together, either because it's a general manager coming in or because you're talking to your parents and you don't want them to know, some things going on in your life and you fake it. There are all sorts of times in your life that you can actually find that go against your own personal beliefs. We are capable. So that's a nice call to action. Write down your beliefs. You can even write down where you found them, like how far they go back, kind of where you think you got that belief from, and then come to today and write down reasons why those beliefs aren't true. I thought I couldn't. Somewhere deep down, so deep down inside of me, I wasn't even conscious of it. Oh, bloody Phil the mosquito. It was so deep down in me, I didn't know how to get it out. It was there, self-sabotaging me. And then I got quite sick, and my mother passed at the same time, like the same couple days. And I came out of that, and some of those internal contracts and strings had been cut by that experience. Things I'd never done by myself. I didn't know how to find them, or maybe I chose not to. And what felt like a death sentence turned into an awakening. There's always time. So before we finish this video, let's do a little exercise. This comes from the Mind Control Method by Silva. It's quite simple. Now, there's a whole bunch of prep to get up to the point where you're building a clear enough intent, but we're just going to tinker, okay? Before we do that, we're going to do a few Wuji breaths or pull down heaven. So we're going to sit, inhale up, exhale down, relax. Inhale up, exhale, relax down. When we raise up, drop the tailbone ever so slightly. As we lower down, we raise the crown. Calm, grounded, relaxed. Feel the ground underneath your feet. Feel what you're sitting on. Feel the ground underneath that. Okay, we'll just keep our eyes closed. We'll look up with our eyes closed on a 45-degree angle to the pineal gland area, third eye. And imagine curtains. I imagine red curtains. And then open the curtain. Now you have a screen there. And upon the screen, envision something you want. For me, I have a few visions. There's a partner, there's a vehicle, there's an activity, and an accomplishment. And so what I will do is I will envision the one, first the partner, and I feel what it's like to be in that situation. And then I swipe it to the right. Then I envision the car that we're driving in that. Get a good image of it, and I swipe it to the right. Then I envision an accomplishment that I'm building towards. I feel what it's like to be there. Swipe it to the right. And then I have another vision of form of security from myself, from my family, and my friends. And I swipe it to the right. So for each one of those, we feel it. Feel like it's real. Now, I want to clarify, when we're doing this practice, those were all external things I had in my vision. One of them's come true already. I didn't even notice it. Actually, two. Two of them have come true. They're still growing. The external is just a representation of the internal. So when you're like, I want to look like this, okay, fine. It's like, how about being something, that you're this person that in time will look like that, maybe, but that you are the embodiment of it. Not that those things define you, but through your embodiment of who is that person, those things become a reality. One thing I'd like to just bring up is take some time to, deciding on what you're looking to accomplish. If it's really authentically your vision, people want to be a basketball player, they want to be a rapper, they want to be a football and hockey player. Well, those are all kind of prescribed to us. It's the similar. It's like, oh, you did past life regression. What was it? Oh, I was in King Arthur's, round table. I was Fred Astaire. Okay, I'm sure you were. Maybe you were. But maybe there's a lot of roads to fulfillment, and they don't have to be exactly what we think they are. I want to be a musician. I would still like performing. I still like playing, but I don't want to hang out in that industry and that lifestyle. I'm definitely not at bars. I thought I wanted to be a Tai Chi instructor, and I do love sharing. But I don't want to just go and run classes so people can come in and not practice. No. I like storytelling. And what I'm building now wasn't even a part of my vision before. But I must say it's not those things, because they're all still there. So maybe how you envision yourself is a representation, but it's not actually what it is. Thanks for coming out. Hope you have a wonderful day. Nature's great gifts, hey?